Have you ever memorized a factoring trick and forgot it a week later? Well, today we're going to learn why the AC method works. And factoring is just reversing distribution. So here we're going to start with distribution. We have these two binomials we're going to start with, and the goal is to get a trinomial. So let's go ahead and get started with distribution. So we have 2x times 3x, which is equal to 6x squared. And then we're multiplying 2x times 1, which is 2x. Next, multiply 3 times 3x, which is 9x. And of course, you're going to multiply 3 times 1, which is equal to 3. Okay, so now we need to combine like terms because remember, the goal is for us to get a trinomial. So we have 2x plus 9x, which is equal to 11x. So bringing this together, we have 6x squared plus 11x plus 3. All right, so we started with binomials and we ended with a trinomial. All right, so factoring reverses this process. So then our first step here is for us to multiply a times c. But let's identify a, b, and c first, okay? A is 6, b is 11, and c is 3. And what we're going to do is multiply a times c. So that is 6 times 3. And 6 times 3 equals 18. So we'll write 6 times 3 equals 18. And what we're going to do here is find two numbers that multiply to 18, but at the same time adds to the middle term 11. All right, so those two numbers are 2 and 9, and that is because 2 times 9 equals 18, and 2 plus 9 equals 11. Okay, so the numbers are 2 and 9. So then the second step here is for us to split the middle term. All right, so we have this middle term, 11x. Okay, so we're going to write it as such. That will be, let me go ahead and write that over here to the right. So that is 6x squared plus 2x plus 9x. All right, and that is plus 3. Okay, so we changed the form, not the value, right? Because 2x plus 9x equals 11x. So now the next step here, which is the third step, we're going to factor by grouping. So we're going to group the first two terms and the last two terms here. So we have 6x squared plus 2x and 9x plus 3. And now we're going to factor each group, okay? And let's do that. So with this first group, we can factor out a 2x. And so that is 2x times what gives us 6x squared? Well, that is 3x. And 2x times what gives you 2x? Well, that is 1. All right, and so now for the next group, we can factor out a 3. All right, and so that is 3 times what equals 9x? Well, that is 3x. And 3 times what is 3? That is 1. Okay, so now we can place 2x plus 3 in parentheses. So we have 2x plus 3, and factor out the common binomial, 3x plus 1. And so we have 3x plus 1. Okay, so these are the exact same binomials we started with. Exactly the same, right? So we distributed to get 6x squared plus 11x plus 3. Then we factored to get back to 2x plus 3 times the quantity 3x plus 1. And as you can see, factoring reverses distribution. So let's go ahead and move on to a quick check here. And I want you to screenshot this if it helps, because it'll help you with the practice example. So go ahead and screenshot it. And let's move on to the practice example here. So pause the video and go ahead and try this problem on your own. All right, so we have 8x squared plus 14x plus 3. All right, so now the first step, of course, is for you to multiply a times c. So, of course, remember, you can always identify your a, b, and c values. So, of course, 8 is a, 14 is b, and 3 is c. And so multiplying a times c, that's 8 times 3, which is equal to 24. So we'll write that here. 8 times 3 equals 24. Now, for the next step, you're going to look for two numbers that multiply to give you 24 and add to give you 14. And those two numbers are 2 and 12. All right, so 2 times 12 equals 24, and 2 plus 12 equals 14. All right, so now what's the next thing to do? Well, the next thing here is for you to split the middle term and factor each group, right? So, but before doing that, you're going to rewrite 14x as 2x plus 12x, right? So that's what I mean by splitting the middle term. And then we're going to factor each group, okay? So let's do that. So we'll rewrite it as 8x squared plus 2x plus 12x plus 3. All right, so now let's factor each group as I've stated here. So we'll place parentheses around 8x squared plus 2x, and around the second group, 12x plus 3. All right, so now let's go ahead and factor each group. So we'll factor out a 2x here. Okay, so let's go ahead and place that here. So 2x times, and ask yourself, 2x times what is 8x squared? That is 4x. And 2x times what is 2x? Well, that is 1. Of course, you're going to factor out a 3 here in this group. So we'll factor out a 3. So plus 3 times what number is 12x, or 3 times what is 12x? That is 4x. Plus 3 times what is 3 is 1. All right, so of course you're going to place 2x plus 3 in parentheses. So we have 2x plus 3 times, and you're going to factor out the common binomial, 4x plus 1. And this is your final answer. 2x plus 3 times the quantity for x plus 1. So I want you to check your answer by asking, will these factors multiply back to get 8x squared plus 14x plus 3? All right, so you can answer that by placing a comment in the comment section below. And I will leave you with these tips. Don't forget to multiply a times c, and your numbers must multiply to a times c and add to b, the middle, okay? Take your time factoring each group, and if the binomials don't match, check your work. So I will leave you with this as well. Factoring, like I said, is reversing distribution, and the AC method helps you rebuild the middle terms. So with that, thanks for watching. If this was helpful, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more calm, clear math lessons right here on MathByTV.